What's up, guys? Brian Elwood here. Welcome back to the Virtual Real Estate Investing Podcast. On today's episode, I want to tell you guys the story of how I split up with my business partner last year. That would be 2017, and why that happened and what I learned from it. So when I first got started in real estate, I was a one-man show for a little while, and I happened to meet a guy at a RIA meeting who was kind of at the same stage as me. He was getting started wholesaling and starting to send out postcards like I was, and we both had no idea what we're doing. I remember he called me. He had spent a ton of money on direct mail, and he went out and put a few houses under contract and didn't know what to do from there. And so I connected him with some investors who bought those properties, and he got an assignment fee, and then he ended up giving me some of it and basically saying, "Wow, that was easy, man. We should make a partnership out of this." And it started out as this totally informal decision where it's like, "Yeah, let's do some stuff together or whatever." And funny enough, 5 years later, it grew into this huge business where we had tons of employees and we're doing over 100 deals a year, and all of our rentals almost were co-owned together and all this stuff. So just a tiny decision to partner up can really blossom into something huge. So you definitely need to make that decision with intention. And, looking back, I'm very grateful that I made that decision. I don't regret it at all. I don't even think I would have gotten to where I am today without my former business partner's help and his confidence and knowledge and just his work ethic and everything like that. I remember being really scared to do a lot of things in the beginning, and he seemed to have a little more confidence than me and helped me, just kind of push me over the line and say, "Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to make that call. We're going to spend this money. We're going to take this risk," or whatever. So I certainly don't regret any of it. And my business partner and I, to this day, are still friends. It was an amicable split and everything like that. But let me tell you, because I want you guys to get some real value from this occurrence. So the reason that it happened, so when we first partnered up, we basically co-ran the company. And it didn't occur to us until later that we were both the CEO of the company. We were sharing the CEO role. And I remember we had a consult call with a coach from the eMyth company one time. And we're giving him a rundown of our business. And he asked who did what and all that stuff. And we said, "Well, we're both the CEOs." And he said, oh, no, you can't have two CEOs. And we kind of said, okay, well, we're going to, because neither of us are going to not be the CEO. Neither of us wants to take orders from the other person. So we ignored this advice down to the end, basically. And what that resulted in throughout the entire history of our business together was that every decision that needed to be made by a CEO, like a CEO level decision, which is tons of decisions, right? It's the entire vision for the company, hiring, strategy, marketing, like everything, really comes from the CEO initially. And so every decision he and I would sit down and make together. And we would spend a lot of time going back and forth with each other. Well, I agree on this, but I disagree on that. And it took so long, it took so much time, that a decision that, it could have been made like that ended up being dragged on for weeks or months, or maybe we just never made the decision, simply because it just took too long to talk through it. I remember when towards the end of our partnership, we were crafting the vision for our company for, I think it was the year 2017, and I went over to my business partner's house like once or twice a week to work on it with him. So again, that's a red flag right there. Is like, we had to wait until the other one was available till we could get together. We worked on it, and we would literally kind of debate on every single word, every single sentence. Well, I don't know if we should set the goal to 65. What do you think about 55? Well, I don't think we should do that. And it was just like so much. It was like this really gentle game of tug and war that we were playing with each other every single day. And we never really like fought or argued all that much. But it just created all this, it created like a logjam in our business. We couldn't move fast. Our employees were hearing from both of us and hearing different things. If one of my employees, brought me an issue, I would say, yeah, well, let me talk to my business partner about that. His name's Frank. Let me talk to Frank about that, and then I'll get back to you, And so 2 weeks goes by, and I still haven't gotten back to him because I still haven't talked to Frank or whatever. And it wasn't that either of us was right, or a better CEO than the other person. It was just that we had slightly different visions for the company. And what really ended the partnership was when our visions got very far apart. We basically stayed on the same page for the most part for many years, and it was more like constantly like, hey, let me bring him more onto my side, and then he's going to bring me more onto his side. And we kind of like stayed pretty close for most of the time. And then towards the end, I really just wanted to simplify the business. I just wanted to buy rentals, which was my goal from day one, create passive income. And I wanted to educate, because that's something I've always wanted to do. I've been really passionate about it. Always wanted to write a book, start a podcast, have a coaching program, and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but that doesn't really fit in with a business that flips houses. It's like you could have an education arm of the company, but it's so different that it doesn't really have to be the same company. And so it was almost kind of like I wanted to start a new company. And he had no interest in doing that. So at that point, our visions were too far off from one another's to bring each other back onto the same page again. And so we both realized that, ironically, almost at the same time. My business partner and I always had a knack for arriving at the same conclusions about things around the same time. We had a lot in common, which I think made us, work so well for so many years. But yeah, so even with that, it was like right at the same time, we both kind of said, here's what I've been thinking. And he said almost the exact same thing word for word. So we decided to split up. And luckily we had, a long time ago, we had hired Kent Clothier to be our coach, and he had us put together a business partner agreement, basically, that detailed what would happen in the event that we did split up. And he said, guys, you got to get divorced before you get married. Just trust me on this. It happens all the time. And I really want you to put this together so that you're protected. And I remember at the time thinking, we're never going to need this. We're never going to split up. We never argue, everything's always going to be fine. I'm sure that's how people think about their marriages sometimes. But we put it together anyways because Kent made us. And afterwards, I was really glad we did because it detailed exactly how we would split things up. We didn't actually end up needing to go and resort to it word for word because we both were on the same page and kind of remembered what we had agreed to. What we did is a couple of the employees went with me and a couple went with him. And we both still have access to all of the same leads and all the systems and anything else that was part of the old business. We didn't, it wasn't like one of us signed a non-compete and bought the other one out. We just kind of divided things up as best as possible, kind of went our separate ways. The hardest part was dividing up our portfolio of rental properties because we basically had to divide them into two mostly equal piles. And then just deed half of them to me and half of them to him. And some of them had mortgages in my name and some had mortgages in his name. So we tried to give all the ones with my name as the mortgage to me and vice versa. So that took a few months of back and forth, and I had to actually go to Nashville and look at some of the properties. But it wasn't that big of a deal in the end. And like I said, to this day, we're still friends. We just had dinner together the other night. And I wish him the best. I want him to be really successful in the Middle Tennessee market and crush it. Just because there's plenty of fish for everybody. I believe that. So the biggest takeaway that I had, because again, like I said earlier, it wasn't that I was right and he was wrong, or vice versa. It was just that we had two CEOs trying to run one business, which does not work. Name one other company, a big successful company that has two CEOs. It just doesn't happen. There has to be one person at the top in a company that's like the tiebreaker, that kind of crafts the vision for the company, makes those big decisions. And if there's only one person, then they can move a lot faster because they don't have to approve it with 1,000 other people. I'll end this podcast with a story that helps drive this home. So there's a husband and a wife in their bedroom in the morning, and they're getting dressed, right? And the husband wants to wear black shoes to work. The wife wants him to wear brown shoes to work. She thinks brown shoes look better with his tie or something. And neither of them will give in. Nope, I'm wearing black shoes. Nope, you should wear brown shoes. And they fight about it. But then it gets time to where he has to leave for work or he's going to be late. So as a compromise, the husband decides, and the wife agrees, that he will just wear one black shoe and one brown shoe to work. So the moral of the story is that compromising is not always better than one path or the other. And in our business partnership, we were making constant compromises with one another, wearing one brown shoe and one black shoe, versus just one person deciding should it be brown shoes or black shoes. So I hope that helps, guys. If you are in a partnership with somebody and you guys are sharing the role of CEO, I don't think that's going to work out for you long term. I hope you prove me wrong, but I really think that you should explore giving the reins to one person who's more of a visionary, make that person the CEO, and then hopefully the other person is more of an operations guy or girl, and you could call that person the COO. Those two people could still own the business 50-50, still make the same amount of money, but the CEO has to be given visionary control. The COO has to be given operational control. If you have two people that are running the business and own the business and they're both visionary types like I am, that's going to be a problem. And you really should think about trying to do something to nip that in the bud before it gets worse. Hope that helps, guys. I will see you on the next episode. If you like this podcast, please leave me a review. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you later.